So, in today's episode, we have Hedi with us. Thank you so much, Hedi, for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So, we were just talking before about some of the work you do. So, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and I was thinking we can talk about what really lights you up about your work. Like, what's the most exciting thing for you that you're seeing in your work right now?
Okay, sounds good. So I'm Hedi. I'm a work-life innovation coach, which means that I help people to really, through their own identity work, get through the messiest chapter of their life and really thrive in order to, create the life and the business they want to create and that they deserve. And I help them on three levels with the clarity, first and foremost. Then the second C is cleansing all the limitations, the blocks, the beliefs that hold us back, the self-sabotage, and then the creation part. So I'm originally coming from innovation background, realizing, okay, now we can innovate everything and anything outside of us, but we have to first and foremost innovate within us. And that our reality is just a mirror of who we are within.
I
And
love
that's
that.
exciting.
Yes, yes, that's so exciting because, like you said, we have to innovate and change from within to be able to make the shifts in the outside world. Because a lot of people are trying to look for that outside thing, right? They're trying to get the extra this or get the new job or get the new relationship. And it's not always about that, right? So you're actually helping people do that deeper inner work where they
Yeah.
get to actually transform from within.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've been there myself. I've been looking and searching and trying to find myself outside until I realized, okay, not working very well, not getting any results at all. And so, yeah, I shifted and that made the difference, as you said.
It's such powerful work, isn't it? Because I know in my work too, I'm seeing the biggest shifts are from the people who are investing in their inner
Mm.
work process, whether that's meditation or some kind of reflection, right? Work. And there's so many ways that people can do that. What are some of the ways that you really enjoy showing people so that they can? I know we were talking earlier about people who are not like trying, they're trying to still find their purpose. So
Yeah.
how do you help people specifically find their purpose in their life?
Well, first, I think there is a tricky programming out there which says, or which leads us to asking the wrong questions, which, for instance, is, okay, I know what I want to move out of, but I don't know where to move towards. And that's really like the first step if you're in that messy process and you're starting to reconnect to yourself, self-actualizing, reconnecting to your breath, reconnecting to your body, you know, just turning off the noise outside. And then most people start to really panic because there is no hook, there is no base, because we've been so heavily programmed by society, by our parents. We carry so much trauma and intergenerational trauma. So there's this huge weight. And the first mini step I love to do with clients is really to look at the purpose and what is there to be uncovered, what I love, what I'm passionate about, what did I overcome. There's this 360-degree purposing formula, which is which I created based upon this experience that really nothing really worked in my own life, trying to find that purpose outside, and also working 10 years in organizations, doing purpose work, doing strategy, doing innovation strategy, and having the right questions that lead us to uncovering, although it's really sometimes even painful, right? To realizing, okay, I've been masking my whole life and now I'm asking all these questions. And first and foremost, I don't have the answers, but you, like onion work, right? When you peel and get to the bottom of it, it's the most freeing first and foremost, because it's a lot about letting go, a lot about energy, work as well. And then really finding not only one purpose, there are multiple purposes. Don't make it so complicated, right? You have passions, you have powers, you have skills that nobody else have. You have the special sauce, you have the what I said, the wounds you can turn into wisdom. That was my light bulb. Whatever is your light bulb, to then turn it into your motto for your life, but then also you can turn it into a beautiful business, like my clients do, like I did. It's not going like this, but you have this fixed star that you then pull towards having a vision. You're not in the pain anymore, but you are moving towards a thriving future, and it leads you there. Now your brain starts to create new ways of seeing the world, giving you breadcrumbs that were there before, but you were unaware of. Our brain is like a Google machine. So if I'm saying, okay, if I want to buy a red car, for instance, all of a sudden you see red cars. I don't know if we all have kind of these stories, or like I was pregnant and then all of a sudden like everyone was pregnant in my city. Like, no, duh, they've been pregnant before, but like, now your Google machine is alert. And so you get all these breadcrumbs, and by letting go and cleansing all of your stories, all of your limitations, all of your generational trauma, and basically freeing yourself from all the not you things, very basic words. It's in the evening here in Germany. Been talking all day. You know what I mean? Then you can actually step into that thriving state.
I love that. I love that. You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing, because I know you're in Europe time right now, and it's a lot later for you, but you can't even tell. Your energy is so good. So
good.
Don't worry.
Without alcohol.
No, you're doing amazing. It's interesting, isn't it, how selective our attention can be and how we can prime it. Like I think it's a reticular activation. Oh my God, activation something like that. I'm not even gonna be able to say it now, but it will highlight, like you said, red cars, or so it really is a question of getting your focus clear on what you want, like you said, and also identifying your passions. I love that you said that, and purposes, like, and multiple passions, multiple purposes, because what I find is, for myself and for my clients, if we're not doing what lights us up and what really kind of, brings us to life, it's really hard to get the energy. And if you're going to that into a business, oh boy, you better be doing what you love, because there's a lot of work. As you know, building a business takes a lot of energy. But if you're doing something you love and this is what you're here to do, it is your purpose. And even from a higher perspective, you could say it's your soul purpose. Like, why, that could be the whole reason why you came into this life experience, to learn how to overcome trauma and hardships, right? And then, like you said, I love that, transmute it into wisdom, turn it into, extract the wisdom. And then that frees you up to actually enjoy your life. Because, a lot of people, realizing now, healing is not just about overcoming the trauma and overcoming the pain, right? But it's actually about being open and available for how good life can be, and rewiring. Absolutely. And that's where the inner work comes in, because a lot of times we get stuck in that default mode of Groundhog Day, where we're just surviving. We're just getting by, if we have gone through a lot of trauma or hardship, or, we're just having a hard time, life's throwing a lot at us for whatever reason. We can get into survival mode and, and get into that limited pattern. Whereas you can actually start to break free from that when you have these tools and what your purpose is, and you can take the next steps. So how can people, if they are struggling, how can they help themselves to get more on track with their purpose? Like, if they're listening to this right now and they're thinking, this sounds wonderful, but I don't, I barely have enough energy to get through the day. You know how that goes, because like you said, if you haven't done all the clearing. life can be very heavy. What would you
Yeah.
suggest? Like, what's a good tool that they could do to get a breakthrough so they could start
I get, yeah. Well, here's your magic pill.
There is no magic pill, I know. But if there was a little
Here it is.
exercise they could do just to start to get more in touch with
I
their
know.
purpose. Or
No, I think
get
it's so
excited.
so valuable what you just said is this energy part. So if you can't work on your purpose if you don't have the energy, if you don't have the clarity, you hardly are getting energy. So what are you what pulls you right now most? The energy part, the cleansing part, or the clarity part? We're all different. It's all fine. And I work from many different angles to get there. I know how messy this is, so why not use it all, right?
Oh, I
To
love
get
it.
the
Yeah, so
interim.
you've got lots of tools. You've got a whole toolkit over
Yeah.
there. You can help your clients with. That's wonderful because I know what works for one person doesn't always work for
No.
another. You know,
No,
you
I
can
mean, what
try.
does for the cleansing part is always the subconscious, right? The subconscious mind is so powerful. You said we are such powerful beings, which we're never told for a very good reason, because otherwise we would be just uncontrollable because you're so cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Freaking,
a whole other topic. I know, right?
freaking cool human beings. We work like magic. So if we rewire your brain, because all of your thoughts and all of your subconscious belief, they show up in the external world. So if you tap into that 95% and really ask yourself, I mean, you can really train that. Yes, you can have a coach, but honestly, if you really stop the hassle and give yourself each day 5, 10, 15 minutes to connect to yourself, meaning breathing exercises, calming your nervous system. I love the butterfly. So let's get real now. Butterfly is like this is no video, right? This is audio only, no?
It's going to be audio only, but yeah,
Okay,
we can
audio.
put it in the
So
description.
you cross your hands like a butterfly, put it on your chest, and then you tap. So this is often used in trauma therapy. So you tap on your breast basically, and very rhythmically, like tap, left, right, left, right, left, right, and you concentrate on that very rhythmic pattern, and you breathe into your stomach, and you just focus on that. That's it. You don't have to focus on anything, not to your to-do list, what the news say. You just give a F. And do this until you have a body reaction. And that goes like a sigh, or you just have a relief. Don't expect too much. Just do it like 30 seconds or a minute. And then you're in a different state. So what we want to be in, if we're asking our subconscious, is really like the most meditative, alert state that we can be in. And that is if we calm our nervous system, if we feel safe, and then you ask your questions and let your intuition speak, or let life speak, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, speak through you. I was shocked when I first did this. Like I was immediately closing off because like the messages that came through all of a sudden, I was just not love and light. Like this was my purpose. And I was like, what the hell? I'm just not it. So your purpose doesn't mean also that it's all there already. I mean, I've been always, bubbly and energetic for other people, but I just wasn't it myself. And I knew I had to become it first. And that was my journey then. So this can also be your path. It is completely unique to everyone, but asking yourself these questions and letting your intuition speak, and not your ego, not your mind, is key. And you can ask, what is my purpose? What is my passion? There are the three, as I said, the 360s, asking also wounds into wisdom. taking you back to very specific memories where you created a tons of impact. So we create like a 360-degree, but these glimpses, you can already, it's not magic. Like it's not at all, right? You're just asking questions of actually, who am I? So this is also where a lot of people get stuck because, we're very defined by what we've been doing. I've just had a very interestingly, a like we just had a coffee with my daughter's teacher, and she said, well, then eventually, so she just told us about her story, how she went back to school to be a teacher again, and she said, well, in the end, this is why I studied, right? So I went back to school and became a teacher. And I was just thinking, this is how we're programmed, not judging. Like this was me as well. We are programmed to believe, okay, so I've studied this, I have these certificates, so this is my path. And then we define ourselves by, and I was heavy on that, like, what am I good at? Not who am I really? Like, who is that me inside of this massive shell and mask that I put up? And as you talked about energy, that takes so much energy to hold these masks up. I was depressed because I needed rest. I needed deep rest from the masks that I was wearing. And being very honest is actually the first step in personal development, in purpose work, in cleansing, because we can bullshit our way through life. Like, no doubt. I was great at it. I was so great at it. I was perfect. I was just perfect. I had a 6-hour week. I had, this jet set life. I went, through the entire world teaching people innovation. I had no clue about my own innovation, of course, and running from my shadows, from myself, from my pains, from my desires, from everything that is called life. And when I was about to rest, I was a shopping addict. So that was the whole, crazy. So I think if that resonates, first and foremost, get very honest with you on, am I really having a life here, or am I just in a hamster wheel surviving, proving myself, and really feeling shitty inside? And that's okay. That is really okay, because if we're honest and really looking at the shitty stuff, then we can turn it into gold. We cannot turn anything into gold that we can't see. It's impossible. So that's the first step in any purpose magic.
I love that you shared so much good stuff there. Wow. Okay, so and the one thing I wanted to add to that, if I can, is don't feel bad if you're listening to this and you're relating to what Hedi just said, because the thing is, we've been programmed to be consumers. We've been programmed to look outside of ourselves and to have that it looks perfect on the outside, but inside we're screaming because we're not living what really lights us up, what really, makes us come alive and is our true purpose. And so it's easy to get distracted by, a high paying job or, a certain type of lifestyle, right? Like you had on paper all the things that should have made you really, really happy, right? That you've been told and sold.
And that creates so much shame. Right. And that creates so much shame.
Well, and guilt.
Like, why am I so ungrateful?
Yes. I know. I've done that too. I think most people go through this as a learning curve, where you have a life where, again, it's kind of like, we could even be close to what your purpose is. It could be like helping people and do it, like I was doing, decades ago, where I love what I was doing, but it wasn't it, it wasn't the whole purpose. It was just a little part of my purpose. And I was learning certain skills, like I was doing a lot of energy work. I was learning the energetics, which I use now, obviously extensively, and I've taken that to a whole new level. But, it was very limited because I wasn't doing the mentoring. I wasn't doing the coaching at the level that I wanted to. And I didn't have the tools that I had now. So, okay, I want to just have some fun with this. What would you, if you could go back in time, if you could time travel, what would you say to that version of you? What advice would you give your younger self?
Which version now? That was
The
so
one that was supposedly happy but depressed. And I love that you said the depressed because that's so true. When you're depressed, it's because you've lost all your energy, right? You're just completely unplugged from your soul and your purpose. So it's like you're living on the next thing that might give you a little bit of excitement for the moment, but it's just temporary. You buy a new outfit and it's fun for however long, and then you're like,
and it's lasting for less and less time. Yeah. I would tell her, you're going to be super fine.
Oh,
You're going to be so super fine. Just do the work, and do the work regardless of your environment. We're so scared to change because then we think, what will people think of me? And the great ones will stay. Not
right.
everyone.
Exactly. The ones that are
that are worth it.
The reason I think people get stuck.
Yeah.
Because they're worried that their loved ones will kind of be like, what are you doing? Or this isn't you, or, and again, they might not get the support that they need, which again, know that there is support available, for people like yourself and, the work I'm doing. And sometimes it takes a good mentor, right? Or a coach to be able to.
Or many.
What you can't see, right? As someone who does this for a living, like us, we can see the blind spots. Like I always tell people, don't worry. It won't take me long to figure out where all your blind spots are because of the way I've set up my tools. They're going to be like search and find, they're going to find out all the places where you might be giving away your energy or not listening, So I love that.
Yeah, and people think because we're having it together, we've had it together all the time. But how many? I can't even count how many coaches and mentors and tools I've used. I cannot count. It's like I've been asked this a week ago, and I was like, naming I couldn't. It's impossible because yes, we've been in the mess too. And you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And the first question I often ask in the first, coaching session or even before that, like in the strategy call let's shift from what am I losing to what am I possibly gaining? What if this works out better than expected? We're so scared of success because this society is so based on, lack and fear and chit chat and negativity. What if you are the pioneer to turn this around? Because energy is contagious. Whatever weight you have on your shoulder it's like this glimmer stars that is contagious too. And we're not only here for ourselves. This is what I truly believe, especially with purpose work. We're here to serve. We're here to ignite others. And those people who are putting you down, maybe it's also time to create a new chapter which frees you from this weight. Because also, just like blank research, if you want more energy and you have people like sucking the energy out of you, and then finally, you don't even have to do much. You just, have to take a step back from people, from things that are just draining. This is like a perfect inventory step for you to gain new energy. And you don't even have to, what am I doing that ignites me? No, cut out the bullshit. Cut out the stuff that is sucking the life force out of you, and you will regain energy to do, more work or have a better life. And I think also to empower people to go these steps. They are brave. They are very painful. very, very painful because often, in relationships, we think things will get better and one day he or she will change. Well, if he or she hasn't until now, this is our responsibility to say no, thank you. No is a complete sentence. Yeah. So this is also part of the journey, I guess. And going a little bit on your own, maybe as well. That's fine. You don't have to go alone. There are people like us, but yeah, it's not you are powerful. You are so, 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 so powerful. And I believe in you very, very much. Very, very much.
I love that. Such an empowering message. And I totally echo that too. You like, if we only but knew our power, right? And this work helps you to uncover that and tap into that. And as you've just explained so beautifully, all the ways that it can impact you when you start to do this work. But the interesting thing that I want to say, because I know a lot of people are afraid of losing their significant others in this process. But what I always tell my clients too is listen to what they're saying and really listen. Like if they're saying, oh, how do you know this is going to work? And, they're voicing doubt. Be clear that those aren't your doubts, that they're just not echoing and mirroring your inner dialogue that they're picking up on, and they're just saying it out loud for you to become aware of, because that could be playing in your subconscious, and like you said earlier, a lot of this work is just doing the subconscious clearing and becoming aware of those patterns. And what I always tell my clients is don't do anything yet with your relationship. Just write down what they're saying and let's do the work. Let's make sure that you don't have these patterns running in the background. Because, and also, did a parent say this? Like, who else has said this to you? Like, who does this sound like? Because a lot of times it's what got recorded into our subconscious, right? It could be a teacher. I had a teacher that was always criticizing me. I internalized, as a little one, a lot of that critique. So I had to clear all that out so I could become a writer, because, everything I wrote was highly unlikely, or nobody will believe you, nobody will believe this story, just because it was very imaginative, because I would love to do like fantasy kind of style writing even when I was little, about like fairies and, all the different things that, not so out there now, actually, and so it's like, okay, but yeah, so, and then you can actually shift the relationship, because once you clean it up,
yeah,
a lot of times the significant others suddenly get excited and start to get really supportive, and they start to mirror that identity shift that happens when they reclaim their power and go, well, that's fine. You can think that, but they don't like let it affect them. They start to get stronger inside. And that's one of the breakthroughs I love seeing my clients come through, because their worst fear doesn't even happen. Their worst fear that, oh, he's never going to go or she's never going to go for this, then I don't know how they're going to get on board and I don't know what this is going to do. We're already a little rocky. And actually the transformation on the other side is that relationships gets better, because obviously if you're taking back your power, you're starting to get excited about life. Well, guess what? Your relationship could get exciting too. I always tell my clients, what if this is just the spark that's going to get your relationship back, and you can fall back in love and have that honeymoon again. It's possible, right?
100%.
I mean, it's really
Yeah.
what you want to, we are that powerful. We can decide how it goes, and it doesn't have, it might get a little messy. There might be some uncomfortable conversations. There might be that period of time where you're like, I can't believe he just said that, or they just told me they don't believe in it's going to work, and all of that happens. But that's an opportunity to get stronger, I think. So.
Totally. 100%. I've seen it so many times. I absolutely agree. Totally, 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 totally. I mean, both ways, right?
Right. It's for the higher good. Yeah. If it's
for the higher good and for the love. If there is love and appreciation, and the way you heal obviously affects the healing of your surrounding, if they're ready. If they're ready, and the leveling up is, it's, it's a magical thing, because I just had this vision, like talking about it. It's like this, really like the scale, right? We're moving out of certain dark energy, crumbs, and we're all lifting our consciousness, and we're all here to lift the consciousness of the planet together. So that's a collective undertaking.
And that's like the larger purpose. I'm glad that you said that. Thank you for saying that, because it's not just about us. When we do this work, like I said, it can affect your relationships. It can affect your marriages. It can affect your child-parent relationship. It can really have impact, but also in the bigger collective.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing, the transmutation, all the healing, it's not just for us. And that used to keep me going when I'd be like, like it was like I was in quicksand. I felt like I was in quicksand, trying to navigate the trauma as I'm peeling back those layers. Like you so beautifully said, it's like an onion, but you're like, oh my God, I can't take another minute of this.
Not anymore.
It can be really challenging, I mean, it's not all, rainbows and, happy feelings. It can be a lot of, releasing, grieving, coming to terms. And when you're losing that old identity, that's another thing, right? That you probably see, like, people don't always feel comfortable letting go of that older version of themselves that got them to where they are now. And yet they know they need to step into the new version. And so that's
and it's also very understandable in terms of our brain. I mean, we have the brain of something that wants to survive, and that when we lived in caves, let's make this anecdotal, back in the days when we were in caves, it was a threat to leave the tribe, obviously, because then you didn't have shelter, you didn't have food. So this is ingrained. We just have to understand also where we're coming from and what we're working with, and what we're here to, which machine we're reprogramming and oiling in a very different way. So this is our equipment. And obviously there will be times when naturally your entire system goes on alarm. No, don't go further, one step further from your tribe, from where I can, keep you comfortable and safe. So these alarm bells will naturally come. It's just normal. We have to talk about it. It's just very, very normal. And so when we know that, we can, I believe, much easier, catch ourselves in that moment and think, wait a minute. No, I realign with my higher self, with the identity that I'm creating. And I'm here to put my purpose into action and not into doubt. So, what fires wires. So the more you really learn to work with this equipment and to rewire it in a way that serves you, that's the work. And that's that's also minus the shame that, no, you're not getting it. Like everyone else is getting it, but I'm not getting it. No, bullshit. Everyone's struggling because that's just the equipment, but nobody talks about it. Let's be real. We're talking about after the transformation, when everything is glorious and we can put it on Instagram, like, hey, I've bought this house and I've got this new hubby. No, there's the messy part in between that is the glorious part, but we can't jump over it. A client of mine said, no, I can't jump, but I can have my best rubber boots on, the shiniest rubber boots, and then makes change even more delicious, even if it sucks.
It makes it all worth it. It doesn't, and it does take a lot of courage, though. And I love that you're speaking to the whole spectrum and range of possibilities with this. Like, I love this conversation because we're bringing so much in, and it's like we're trying to create this bigger picture for the audience, though. And I think we're doing a good job because it's so many things, right? It's hard to say what we do because we're bringing in so many different tools, so many different parts of this process. And it sounds like you're doing similar work to me, where you're doing a lot of the deep transformation, the deep inner work, which is
the detective work also, as you said, right?
Yeah,
the detective work. Where is it? Where was the first time this came up? Oh, 18 generations ago. No problem. Let's jump there. Sometimes I'm like zooming out of the sessions and I'm like, what? Like, yeah, it's a really, really interesting and fun and very rewarding.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, right.
really.
It's one of the best things ever. I know. I remember when I first started with my mentor back in 2000, and I was dealing with so much trauma, and we hadn't even gotten to, we were just dealing with the surface of it, right? We hadn't even gotten to the bottom of the iceberg, underneath the surface. And she was like, this is going to be the hardest thing, one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. Yet when you're on the other side, it will be the most rewarding and you will
Mm.
be blown away by who you become. And I remember hearing that and being kind of like, oh my God, like deer in the headlights, but I could feel it because she knew the terrain. She'd gone through it. And that's the value of having mentorship, right? Where you have someone who's done the work, who's been in the trenches, who spent hours and hours, figuring out all the different pieces. And then when you have that person holding space for you, it's so much easier because when you're going through certain parts of that identity shift, they can say, this is normal. Like you were saying, it's
Yeah,
totally normal. You're breaking ancestral patterns that go
yeah,
back, to millennia,
yeah,
where you've been programmed to like fit in, like, yeah, to step out and live your purpose. That would have been just not a thing back in those
yeah.
days. It's like,
No way.
no, you have to do the purpose of the tribe and that's it. What do you mean you're going to go over here and do this,
Perp, what?
Okay, you can, bye,
Do
you
your
know,
perp over there.
no one's going to be doing that. And that's still how we feel. And I always tell my clients, yeah, a little fear is going to be normal. Yes, you're going to be excited and we can transmute that fear into excitement as we go. But there's going to be part of your brain like freaking out and saying, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. And that's that natural resistance that you have to kind of be aware of and have the tools with, you know, we keep it as fun as we can, right? We keep it as,
Yeah,
as accessible
as light as
fun.
possible, as
We're
delicious as
still
possible.
digging out all this trauma, it's like, yeah, but we're still gonna get get all this out. Or even if you haven't had a traumatic life, there's still all the programming and conditioning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and all the energetics that you carry from generations and that you are so brave to feel. I mean, I
Yeah.
strongly believe in this, these carriers. If the trauma or if the energy comes up, it wants to be released. It's not triggering you to piss you off. I'm sorry for my language. It's not here to create a bad life for you. It's here so that you can clear it because you have the ability to. The subconscious, your system only gives you what you can handle because you're this powerful. And I think I'm not saying this to blah blah, right?
No, this
For me, this is absolutely true. Otherwise, you have blocks and the subconscious doesn't give you it yet. Maybe
yeah.
tomorrow.
Unless you go digging like me,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like, no, I'm not waiting
exactly.
for it. I want to go after it and get it all now.
Yeah, yeah,
I know. Yeah, you can get the heavy machinery out. I'm getting the bulldozer. I'm cutting it because I know how this goes and I want to get to the good stuff.
yeah, exactly. And fast. I mean, we want fast,
You
right?
can do that, but yeah, at the beginning though, you have to be able to go through the
Yeah.
just
You
learn
must
how
to
to go.
hold. You also have to hold and integrate and embody this new version. My cat's not trying to kill me here.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And otherwise you fall back into a very unpleasant state, I believe. And that's, yeah, we have to, we're all here on a very unique journey, path. And it, yeah, it's very beautiful, actually.
I love it. I love it. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. So, what do you have for our audience? Is there anything in particular that you're bringing into the world that you want to invite people into? And how can people connect to you also?
You can connect to me via my website. It's hedischaefer.com. You can also connect with me via any kind of social media. I'm not sure where I'm not out at Twitter. I don't have Twitter, but anything else is there. Hedi Schäfer, Schaefer. If you want to join the Purpose Week, you can down below if you want the free worksheet, the purpose discovery worksheet, you can get that as well. And all the power is within you. So uncover it.
Yes, yes. Such a powerful conversation. Is there anything before we close here that you want to leave us with? Or if you could speak to the whole world, if you could have the whole world listening right now, what do you think is most important for them to know?
I think, I hope I'm not going to tear up. So I think we're at a very important turning point, like each and every one of us, but as well collectively. I mean, we see the old world crumbling and it's not very pleasant. So I think the more you invest into your sanity, into your purpose, into yourself, you will be fine going through these waves of chaos, of destruction, of new creation. Because in innovation, as an innovation, I know you really cannot create a new system within a broken system. It has to collapse first. And so each and every one of us has a very strong mission on this planet. If you're listening to this, you are, because we are creating a new world, but we can only create a new world if we get rid of the old stuff from within. Inside out principle. It's not gonna work the other way around. I've tried. Many people tried. It doesn't work. So let's get going.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I've tried too. I know. I've tried. I even try for my clients that still want to do it that way. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can innovate something. But I know it's not the same.
Not lasting.
No, it's not as powerful and it's not as transformative. You're right. It's not. Thank you so much. Wonderful conversation. And I know my audience is going to love this. They're going to be on this wavelength with us. So yeah, if you're listening to this, go support Hedi's work and everything that she's doing. And thank you so much again for sharing your wisdom and for bringing so much lightness to what can be a very, it is a courageous mission, but you've heard the call now. And hopefully this resonates with you who are listening. Thank you.
Lots of love. Thank you.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.